Hello everybody, welcome to Catherine Sews. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've got a really beautiful upcycled plan today. Look at this dress that I thrifted. It's so pretty, it's just the loveliest thing, but I can't even show it to you as it is. It's way too small. The waist is teeny tiny and I'm gonna rip it if I try to put it on. And in fact, it already has a little bit of a rip at the waist here, but that's okay because I gotta do some dismantling here. It's a long dress. There's a lot of lace here to work with, but I'm never gonna wear it as a dress. I've had it in my cupboard for more than a year and I haven't even dreamt about wearing it. So what is going to help me to wear it is to turn it into a lacy cardigan. That I think I would reach for again and again. So I've got all of the fabric of the skirt here to work with. I want to turn the sleeve into a long sleeve. Whether that means replacing the sleeve or adding on to it, I don't know yet. I want to open it up down that center front and add buttons. Do you notice this? The center front is not aligned here. Can you see that the center front is just a smidge off center? So that would bother me. So that skirt has to come off anyway. I'm going to use some of the skirt to do the sleeves, some of the skirt to kind of create a, I don't want to call it a peplum because I'm not a big fan of peplums, but a section below the waist. How about that? I think it'll lend itself nicely to just a few small buttons down the front. The sides have deep slits and they're bordered in a nice lacy edge. And then the whole bottom has that beautiful big scallop edge. I just recently did that bridal gown alteration and that really did rekindle my love for working with lace. So I think it's time to turn this dress into a cardigan that's going to fit and be something that I will reach for and wear. So I think I'm ready to jump in. So if that sounds good to you, then let's get busy. So for this dress, I think the first thing I'm going to do is remove the whole skirt. And you can see here that there are pretty large stitches holding those panels together. So I think that's going to come off fairly easily. That's going to come off really easily. So I'll spend a minute and remove the skirt. And I'll just show you though, the skirt is pleated into the top. Can you see that? There's these deep pleats that make this skirt panel come in to fit the waist. The skirt is fully rectangular, you know, I don't think there's a flare to it. So the width of the top is the same as the width of the bottom. So that is good to know for when I'm planning out sleeves and peplum. It's not a flared piece that I'm going to have to be aware of. It's just basically working with a rectangular fabric. Easy peasy. So I'm going to take off the skirt and I think I will also open up these sides. I might as well. The sleeves, I'm not sure yet if I'm going to replace them or add on to them. So I won't remove the sleeves yet. I will check back in with you before I do that. Definitely getting rid of these hanging loops. Those drive me crazy. So those are going to go. So I'll do my stitch removal and come right back. Okay, so the skirt panels are removed and separated. And I'll slide my green mat under there so that you can see. So this is the bottom of the skirt. I think that big scallop will make a beautiful sleeve. Then I have to decide. I could just use this part for the peplum. That's pretty little, but that would give me enough to be able to recut a whole sleeve. If I keep the sleeve as it is and just extend it, then I need a lot less, and then I can use all of this for the peplum, which to me sounds more practical, right? So these skirt pieces are going to give me a sleeve, the peplum, and a little piece to be able to expand the waistline a bit. Alrighty, so this is the top. Oh, I didn't take those pesky loops out yet. I've tried really familiarizing myself with the construction of this lacy part here to see if I could separate this out. You can kind of see that one layer comes in over the other, and I was hoping that those were just stitched down together and that I could separate them, but I have not been able to find a way in. So I think what I'm going to have to do is just cut right down the middle there and just see what happens. What's the worst that could happen, right? I think I better run to the sewing machine and zigzag over that edge now, just so it doesn't start flying apart. But that'll be fine, right? If I zigzag that, that's going to look pretty. So just a little zigzag stitch right down that front edge. shorten it up a bit. So it's 3.5 wide and 2 millimeters long. And then in here where it's just a little more raggedy, I'll go even shorter, 1.6 long. And now I can actually finally try it on and see how much I need to add to get that waistline to fit. So in the front here, I just need about an inch to join it. But isn't that going to be pretty? And then to measure how much I need to extend the sleeve, I've got a tape measure on a clip, and I'm just going to clip it to my watch strap there. If I added on a piece that was 12 inches long, that will be plenty. And what I'll do is join it to this scallop and then trim away the excess. So I'll try for a 12-inch long piece. Here, I don't know if I just want to add something right here or open up the side and just make the side a bit bigger, because this is looking so pretty. If that could come together, I think that's beautiful. So, okay, side seam it is. And then how long do I want the peplum? Think about like that, hey? So that's 8 inches. So I've got the 2 layers of the skirt sections right side together so that I can just cut a big rectangle to lengthen the sleeve with. So I measured 12 inches long, but that was just down to my watch strap. I wouldn't mind if the lace came down onto the back of my hand. So I can go up to about 15 inches long. So 15 inches is exactly what I have. So the original sleeve has 3 sort of scallops on it, and they're narrower though. They're not this full width. But I'm going to pleat this in the same way that the skirt had been pleated into the top. So I've lined it up as well as I can. And I'm just going to cut right in between these 2 lines in the lace. And then I'll cut right below those little scallops. Okay, phew. So that's my sleeve extension. That's going to be beautiful. This part, this little scrap is going to be what I put into the waist to make the waist just that little bit bigger. And then here's my peplum. And then the 8 inches that I wanted on the peplum takes me right from this scallop. I'm just calling it a scallop. I know it's not exactly, but from there to the bottom of this one. So I think I'll cut straight across and re-serge the edge the way it was. I won't serge the top of the sleeve pieces though, because they're not going against a straight edge the way the peplum is. They're going against the scallop on the sleeve, so I don't want a straight edge here. So that's good. It's kind of neat working with this lace because it has this almost like finished edge, right? So I think I will just overlap those and zigzag right down there. That'll be great. Okay, and it's not too skinny or long of a tube to get in. I'll be fine going right there with a zigzag. So those are ready to go to the machine. And the little side seam pieces. Those 2 edges are just kind of overlapped and stitched together. This is what I have to work with. So 6.5 inches. I've got these 2 pieces folded in half. And my 6.5 inches has to go basically from the top to the bottom here, not here. So 6.5 would be like that. But I'm going to need a little bit of seam allowance. So 6.5 is there. And then I'll add on 1/2 inch seam allowance. I don't really need the full 1/2 inch. That's a bit excessive. Okay, that'll do. That's just wider than I need, isn't it? That was silly. Okay, let's try that again. That seems more reasonable. Okay, so I've got a little bit of scrap, just this. Don't cut up that. Okay, we're good. So this little piece, there is a right and a wrong side. Like I think the lace looks better on this side. This is the inside. So I'm going to put this also wrong side up. And I think I'll just baste it in place first. And I'm just going to sew more or less on top of that straight edge. I want these edges all to blend together as one. Well, that's pretty, don't you think? Oh, that's really nice. So with a long basting stitch, like a temporary stitch, I'll just sew up and down, try it on, make sure it's good. Then I'll treat it the same way I treated the lace on that bridal alteration I did recently, where I'm going to go over it with a zigzag stitch and then trim away the excess. That'll just look so pretty. Love it. So now I'll just be sewing with that long basting stitch, like it's a regular straight stitch, but the length is 5 millimeters, and I can see the heavier edge on the under layer. So I just want to sew right into that, up one side, down the other. Okay, oh gosh, that's pretty, isn't it? Alrighty, I'll try it on and make sure that hangs nicely. It might need some adjustment here and there. We'll see. So look at that. So perfect, right? That was easy. I love it now. I love it so much. And it's not going to be tight. It's going to just hang just a little bit away from the body there, which is great. I still don't know what I'm going to do for a closure. That is up in the air. We'll see. Okay, so I'll finish this off, trim away the excess, and then next will be the sleeves. So now I'm working with the good side facing up so that I can really travel right along that solid edge and then trim away the excess from the inside. So again, it's a zigzag that's 3.5 millimeters wide and 2 millimeters long. All the way up one side and down the other. So with those both stitched on and my edges as well lined up as I can, like if there's a little difference there, I don't think it's going to end up being a big deal because I'll be zigzagging that peplum on in the same way. So threads trimmed and then the excess trimmed away from those triangles. Beautiful. I love that. Working with lace is a joy. It's just so lovely. And if I keep working with lace, I'm going to definitely have to get myself some bird's beak scissors or becto scissors. I keep mentioning those and I still don't have any. The bird's beak or becto scissors, they just have a big flat blade on the bottom, so it just kind of glides through a bit easier. And then you're not as scared of cutting that bottom layer. That is so pretty. And so now I think I can do the peplum. Or should we do the sleeves next? I think I said we'd do sleeves next, right? Okay, so here are the sleeve pieces, and I've just pinned them overlapping those two edges, and I just kind of used the pattern to make sure that I'm staying on track. So again, just using that same zigzag, sewing that overlap. Okay, and there's nothing to trim off on these ones because it was two straight edges going together. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. I didn't miss an edge. There's no gaps. Looking good. Okay, so I'm going to work with the sleeve inside out and the sleeve extension inside out as well. Then there's my overlap that I sewed. So I'm going to put that to the seam and just make sure that my edge is at least at the highest point of these scallops. And then this next little section will go to the highest point there. So this last line goes to the top of that scallop. Okay, so then it's at least evenly pinned all the way around. And then that shows me how much I need to pleat in here. If I bring the center of that section out and the center of this section out, then I can kind of see what needs to fit into what. And I'm going to just put a pin right here. And then I'm going to flatten out this part. So that gives me a pleat that will hopefully satisfactorily pleat in the excess and look pretty on the outside. I think I'll have all my pins vertical. That's the idea. So one section at a time, kind of fold it in half, find the center of the scallop, find the center of the extension piece, put a pin vertically, like with the head of the pin sticking up, I think is much better there. And then that shows me how much excess has to get folded in. So I'm just kind of opening it like a box pleat. I guess this is an inverted box pleat. I'll pin one sleeve and kind of try to slip it on and make sure it looks nice. And then I'll do the next sleeve. That is the idea. Are you in love with it already? Because I am. I'm wondering if it's way too long though. But look how pretty it is. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna try it on. So yes, darn it all, it's too long. I put these little pins in. If you think it's easy to pin the bottom of your own sleeve, it's not. But I put these pins in and then it was still long, like it's still down to about here, but it's right now it's like down to here. So I'm gonna take 2 inches off the top and go through that whole process again. Now, you know what? If I was smart, I might try to pre-pleat the section. I'll take 2 inches off and then fold and put a little stitch at the 2-inch mark in each section. So now fold and then a little stitch right here, 2 inches from that fold. So the edge of my needle plate is 2 inches away from my needle. So I'm using that long basting stitch to just sew down about 1 inch at each of those folds. No back tacks because this is just a temporary stitch. It'll come out later. So both sleeves like that with 3 little pleats. So then that little overlap that I sewed, it looks a little bit different from the other 2. So I'll put my overlap to the seam. This is just what I've already done right in the basting. That's gonna go there. Let's get the verticals in place first. And then open out that inverted box pleat and pin that down. That's not too bad, eh? Okay, so I will try this on one more time. If it's good, then I'm just going to baste sort of straight around from the inside. And then I'll do that same kind of zigzag stitch following the scallop. And then I'll trim away the excess. Well, let's see how that is. I'm going to try using the free arm on this, although I rarely find the narrow thing that I'm working on goes around the free arm. See? It doesn't work. Okay, that does not work. So then in that case, I think I would rather have the sleeve right side out and slip the presser foot inside that circle. Now this is just my temporary stitch, so eek, I don't want to lose any pins, but I'm not trying to follow any line here. I'm just trying to get it attached. Oh, with this little hazard is, oh my gosh, pins are just falling out everywhere. Phew. I think that was successful. Now, it does not look nice now, but it will. And so I'm going to baste the other one. I did compare both sleeves and made sure that they were the same. So now I've got the zigzag at 3 millimeters wide and 2 millimeters long. And now I'm just zigzagging on that bottom edge. I need to make sure that the under layer stays laying nice and flat and that my pleats kind of look okay. I'm not being too picky about the pleats, but they should look intentional. Just following that bottom edge. So that sleeve is going to be beautiful. It's not quite beautiful yet because I still have that basting stitch up here and you can still see quite a bit of the overlap. But I'll zigzag both, try it on, and if it is good, then I'll be able to remove that overlap, and then you'll see how lovely it is to work with lace, where you can just overlap pieces, zigzag, trim off the excess, and it should end up looking just like it was meant to be like that. Okay, so pretty. I love it. So I can pull out the basting thread and then trim off all of this excess, anything that's sitting above my zigzag line. And I just have to be careful that I don't cut the underlayer, which I guess is actually the overlayer. Okay, so there's that sleeve after it's been trimmed. Oh my gosh, that is just a little bit of heaven, isn't it? That is just So, so pretty. Wowzers. Oh my gosh, I'm madly in love. It's so pretty. Okay, I'll trim off the second sleeve like that, and then it's just the peplum. Okay, the sleeves are gorgeous. So this is the piece for the peplum now. I've just joined the two pieces. Remember, it was open at the side of the skirt. So these are the two former side seams. They're now going to be the center back seam of the peplum. And I'm just using that same zigzag stitch to join them together using an overlap. Okay, so that's joined together. And now I just want to create a new bottom edge. So I've got these scallops I can follow, but I need to connect them. So I think I'm going to do a zigzag all the way along, hop over that inner circle, and then continue down on a scallop. Let's start here at what will be the center front. I think this is making sense. Maybe I don't want it to go up at the center front. I might just come straight in from that center front edge. Good, so my two ends seem to be about the same. Now I can just trim off the excess just beside my zigzag. Okay, so the bottom edge is fine. The top edge of the peplum, I don't think I'm going to change the thread on my serger to match this. I think I'm just going to do that same zigzag stitch right across the top. Just so I have a bit more of a solid edge to work with. It's not going to fray. I think this is fine. Yeah, it gives me a little edge like that. That's fine. I don't even know how necessary that was, but it makes me feel better. So here is the bodice laying wrong side up, and then here is my peplum. So I'll lay it also wrong side up. And then I'm going to just pin quarter points first. So that's my little join. I'm putting it right to the center back. And then my center front edge should just line up nicely there at the center front. This seam is the center of here. Yeah, so the center of my little inset will get the center of the peplum. I'm scooching this down so that my zigzagged edge is already at the bottom of the bodice so that I don't have any trimming to do later. So for each section now, I'll find the center and pin centers together and then a little box pleat in the middle of each section. Okay, so that's a little bit fussy for pinning. That's going to take me a minute. Honestly, might have been easier if I'd gathered this layer in. I don't know. Okay, so then I can just zigzag right across this edge. Okay, here we go. I am glad that I did that little zigzag edge. It's giving me just a little guideline to make sure I'm catching it. Okay, so there's the peplum attached. That is sweet. And you know what? I think these could easily be turned into buttonholes. Why don't I just do that? And then we are done. So just before I finish, one thing that is bothering me is this bottom edge. It looks like there's a gap there, doesn't it? So, I mean, I could just let it go. I could be fine with that, but I kind of want to show you like the magic of lace. So I'm taking the scallop off one of the waist pieces, like one of the scraps. I'll try it on the center back here and see if I like the difference that it makes. So what I'm thinking, I'm going to overlap that there. So I'm going to cut this in half. So each scallop will give me two little joins. I'm going to just do a little snippy snip here. A little snippy snip there. I'm going to put this one over, zigzag that into place, trim away the excess, and I think I will like that better. That does look better than these, doesn't it? Oh, for sure it does. And is it worth the trouble? Well, you know what? I don't think it's going to be that much trouble. I don't think it's going to be that bad at all. In fact, I thought I would try one and just see, but I'm already convinced, so I'm just going to do them all. It does look better, right? Like that just looks unfinished. Okay, here we go. There's one problem though, is that it takes a little bit more than half. Okay, that's okay. I have enough scallops, no problem. Oh yes. So just 7 like that. I think it's 7. And I'll just compare the 2 front edges and make sure they are the same. And then I'll just zigzag right across this. That'll be so much nicer. Okay, zigzag stitch, I think, for the last time. Okay, this bottom corner, I think I'm okay to just cut that straight. And then you notice that I sort of chained them all together, and that just helped me to find the threads. It sort of speeds you up a little bit, but I also like it because I don't have to search for the threads as much. I just sort of follow it all the way back. So threads are trimmed, and now I can trim off the excess from the back. Little tiny reinforcement on that bottom corner. Alrighty, 4 little buttons, and then Bob's gonna be your uncle. Okay, this goes over, so this is where the buttonholes are gonna be, and I think it'll just be those 4. And you might be asking, why don't you do 5? And the reason is because I have 4 buttons. That's all I have. And so I think these 4 make sense. This one is kind of after the bend. We're just going for it. If I just snip this mesh away here, can I fit this button through? I think that'll be no problem. No problem. In fact, it's a little too easy. I might even have to tighten up those holes. So if I just put a smaller snip in the mesh, that might just be the ticket. So that means over here then, I just want to sew a button right in the middle of that circle. That's pretty flimsy. I'll just try putting a little scrap of lace behind the circle, just so that I have something to anchor that button to. Otherwise, it's just going to pull right off that mesh. I just don't want this to look messy on the back. There, that'll be okay, I think. Alrighty, 4 little sweet buttons like that. And then there you go. Oh my goodness, that is sweet. It's so cute. Have you ever seen anything so sweet? It's so cute. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna wear this with so I can show you the finished product. It's just so pretty though. I am in love. Look at that bottom edge now. Like you would think that it just came that way, right? It just looks so much more complete. Then that did not take very long, did not take any extra patience. It's just better, right? And I could spend a few more minutes trimming off that little edge if I want to, but honestly, the original garment wasn't trimmed any better, so that is fine. Alrighty, I'm gonna stop obsessing here and put this together into an outfit and show you. Is it just me, or is this the prettiest thing that I've seen in a long time? I adore this. This is just, I feel so pretty in this. It's just lovely. The buttons just turned out so nice there. I don't know why I had a hard time seeing that. Like, it didn't really come to me till almost the very end that, like, duh, there's like circular shapes right where you want to put buttons. But that worked out great. I love the way the bottom edge worked out. I'm really glad I inserted those 7 little connector bits that really just makes the bottom edge look like it was meant to be. And I have found loads of ways of wearing this. So I can wear it super casually like this, which is how I will probably mostly wear it, but I could also kind of dress it up a little bit for a working kind of event or a dinner. I could even dress it up for holiday. I just love that there's just so many ways of wearing it. The sleeves, just the prettiest things. Like, I'm just gonna have to always be like pointing out things for people to notice. So I hope you enjoyed that one. I certainly did. I do love working with lace. I hope you kind of saw that it's not actually intimidating to work with lace because you can just kind of patch it together and it looks like it was meant to be that way. So once again, I thank you so much for being with me right till the end. I always love and appreciate that so much. And you know what? Working with lace is going to be October's monthly challenge from my online sewing community. If you want to join us, we'll be so happy to have you. Just click the link in the description for the sewing community on School. It's Catherine's Sewing Room. We'd love to have you. So that's it for today. And until next time on Catherine Sews, you take care.